Hello everybody, my name is Brianna Belo, and I'm a meteorologist here with the National Weather Service office in Grand Junction, Colorado, and this is your summer's 2023 seasonal climate summary. So we're going to recap the summer stories of the month. So starting off with June, our story of the month was June snow. I feel like we just got rid of the snow, don't you? Just when you think summer's finally here, Mother Nature reminds you that this is the mountains and anything can happen. So actually on the morning of June 17th, we had some precipitation move over the Continental Divide, and it actually brought some snowfall to I-70 over Vail Pass. So it actually brought snow down to pass level in June. And actually the day before, there had been snow hard enough to coat the grass near Loveland Pass, which was over on Boulder side of the area, but still kind of fits the point. And this is all thanks to that much cooler and wetter than normal pattern that characterized the month of June, which we will recap a little bit when we talk about the temperatures for the season. Moving into July, summer came hard and fast. Once we got into July, we went immediately from cool and wet to hot and dry, with record-setting heat during various periods of the month, including here on, what days was this? July 17th, we actually tied our record highest temperature of any day of the year here at the Grand Junction Airport with hitting 107. And that record actually was set on July 9th of 2021. I remember it well. I was driving to the Denver airport and thinking, wow, it's pretty hot today. We hit our first 100-degree day in the month of July. July 11th, we finally saw those triple digits, although we had been flirting with them for probably the previous week or so. Over the course of the rest of the month, specifically the 2 weeks following that July 11th date, we saw 3 days setting new record high temperatures and 2 days setting record warm low temperatures. As you will see, the hottest day of the month and probably the year was that July 17th day. Moving into August, we moved into a slightly more normal, slightly more stormy, kind of almost monsoonal pattern in August. So we saw this sort of very characteristically stormy days, and one of these storms actually produced this very lovely funnel cloud that was sent to us by Lee Rushton. Thank you so much if you're watching. On radar, this just looked like a very small little shower, but very quickly we started getting calls from various people saying, hey, you know, there's a funnel cloud here. And this was located south of the town of Yampa. There was no real indication that the funnel cloud actually touched the ground, so it is not considered a tornado or a land spout. So all the best we can say is that this little shower produced a funnel cloud, but you know, it is pretty interesting, and perhaps it was just that this shower's updraft managed to tap into a little bit of that spinning motion that we tend to get in the atmosphere around mountains, and created this very photogenic little thing. All right, moving into the summer temperatures. As I said, July 17th was a very hot day. Our hottest temperature of the season was 110 in Canyonlands on that July 17th, followed up by our all-time record high temperature of 107 in Grand Junction. But pretty much everybody, with the exception of Aspen, saw their hottest temperature of the season on July 17th, with Montrose seeing it again on the 24th and Aspen only seeing their high temperature on the 24th. So the 24th, probably our second place day as far as warmest day of the year, but really this July 17th was a real doozy. Moving into low temperatures, as I mentioned before, the month of June was definitely a much cooler and wetter month, and that is a little bit reflected in these low temperatures. With our warmest lows being in Grand Junction, Canyonlands, as you would expect, these tend to be kind of our hot spots of the 10 climate sites, coming in with 47 degrees as their lowest lows for the season. And in Junction, this occurred on the 3rd of June, and Canyonlands on the 24th of June. Our coldest low actually was in Durango, of all places, on the 24th, and that was 29 degrees Fahrenheit. It actually dropped below freezing in Durango in the month of June. And actually, looking at these, you can see that the 24th was definitely our coldest day of the season, not the year, though. I would be inclined to call the day where it dropped to -40 in Craig the coldest day of the year, but that's just off the top of my head. I don't necessarily have the data to back that one up. But definitely for the summer season, that 24th seems to overall be the coldest day. Looking at precipitation, not as great as we saw in the spring and the winter. Definitely, we're not seeing, you know, a whole bunch of greens here with above normal departures. Meeker tops us out, coming in with just under 5 inches of precipitation for the season, which is just about 1.5 inches above normal. At the bottom here, we have Montrose with 1 inch exactly, which is a little over 1 inch below normal. Our departures ranged anywhere from almost 2 inches below normal in Durango to that 1.5 inches above normal in Meeker. But overall, we did see only 3 of the 10 sites finish the season with a above normal precipitation, while the remaining 7 were below normal, and some of them quite below normal. And part of this just kind of has to do with where and when the moisture fell. We really didn't see our monsoon in the typical monsoon month. So that's really part of why Durango and Cortez really came in below normal, so below normal here, because they really rely on the July into early August monsoonal precipitation, which we did not see at all in July and only started to see in August. Looking at our fall 2023 drought outlook, for the areas that are in drought, so that would be D1 or severe drought, or D2, which is moderate drought, we're looking at that drought persisting. This is a little bit confusing because there's a third category which isn't considered drought. I've talked about this before in some of my other videos. It is D0 or abnormally dry. It is, think of it like a drought watch. Okay, things are drier than normal, but we're not really in a drought yet, but it wouldn't take a whole lot to tip things into drought. And so a lot of this area where you're seeing this yellow drought development likely is areas that are already in that D0 category. So they are already considered abnormally dry, and it, even just a month of really substantially below normal precipitation could really tip it over into becoming a full-on, getting a drought category. The northern half of the CWA, so kind of I-70 northward, we're not really looking at anything. There's really no drought there, or maybe a few pockets of abnormally dry, but it's not expected to change at all. We're not really looking at it worsening. And if it is abnormally dry, we're not really looking at it getting necessarily better. But we're just going to kind of have to wait it out and see what happens. This could be a very interesting season, the fall. Moving on, looking at our climate outlook for the season as far as temperatures and precipitation, the Climate Prediction Center is favoring above normal temperatures across the board here. Is only slightly leaning towards above normal temperature. We're talking maybe, forget I said that. It's leaning slightly towards above normal temperatures, where further south in like New Mexico and Arizona, there is a much stronger leaning towards that. But for now, we'll take it. This could have a very easy chance of changing. And this really doesn't give you an idea of the magnitude of above normal temperatures here. We could see, temperatures running 2 or 3 degrees on average above normal, and that would still bear this out. So keep that in mind. We're not talking, 15 or 20 degrees above normal. We're not talking like last year in September where we saw a series of 100-degree days. At best, we're talking maybe 10 degrees above normal occasionally. And even that, we'll have to wait and see how the season goes. As far as precipitation, equal chances. We could see above normal precipitation. We could see below normal precipitation. The Climate Prediction Center's guidance is not leaning in either direction. So unfortunately, sounding a bit like a broken record, we are just going to have to wait and see what comes out of this fall season. Do we jump right into winter and start seeing, you know, mountain snow accumulations? Are we going to see more of a drier autumn as we've seen in the last several years? Climate Prediction Center says could go either way. And so that's it for the summer season update. Stay tuned, check back in a couple months, and you'll have your fall season update, and we'll kind of go over what actually happened compared to what the predictions were. And if this is something you enjoy and you're not checking out the monthly videos, please give those a little click too. You get a little bit more in-depth information as pertaining to the individual months rather than this overview of the whole season. The August one is actually going to be going up at about the same time as this one, so if you're watching this and haven't watched that, go check it out. And I will see you again real soon.